Still on the search of that one true love? On the limbo in this crazy world of dating, marriage, relationships? Well, listen to the Golden State Media Concepts Relationship Podcast, your one-stop podcast for everything about relationships.
Thank you for tuning into the GSMC Relationship Podcast, brought to you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I am your host, Gloriann. Welcome to another relationship podcast. It's a new week. I hope that you enjoy this week. And in today's episode, I want to talk about being the other woman and how this can affect your relationship and how to deal with it as well. I want to start this episode on why people cheat so we can have a better understanding of things. If you have been cheated on, you know that the heartbreak is the worst because you start to doubt yourself, and that's why, and what you did wrong. And when you go to another relationship, you still have those trust issues. When someone cheats on you, you can think, oh, it's my fault. Just like you can blame the person that your partner cheated on you with, because I know people that blame the other woman or the other guy when in reality it's your partner's fault. At least that's my personal opinion, because he was the one who went looking for somebody. Because again, if your partner respects you, he'll say to this person like, hey, I have a girlfriend, or hey, he'll talk to you straight and say, hey, I'm not really happy in the relationship. I think we need to take a break, or this is gonna happen. In my case, I can say that I have always had low self-esteem, and when my first boyfriend cheated on me, I was a mess, especially when I knew that the girl that he cheated on me with, we were classmates, and of course, this girl, I've known her for so many years, and I knew that she was interested in him, and she was always like telling him comments and blah blah, but he was always ignoring her at the same time. So when he cheated on me with her, I didn't never understand why. He told me that it was that he was drunk and that she took advantage of her, but you know, it's just happened, so it is what it is. Of course, when I knew that he cheated on me with her, and this is in all my relationship and saying to my friends, I try to be one of those girls that tries not to talk bad of the other person, like she's ugly or she's just whatever or blah blah blah, you know, or insulting her. I don't get anything from that, so I try not to do it, obviously. And again, it was my partner's fault, and I know it was, because I can say that he never put his foot down and say, hey, you know that I have a girlfriend, you need to stop. The point is that, of course, I do think like, oh, maybe she was better than me in something, and that's why he cheated on me with her. Maybe the vibe or the energy. It could have been so many things that you obviously start to think about them. And if you do start to think about those things, it's going to eat you alive. It happened to me. It has happened to my friends. It has happened to everybody. And of course, you don't want that. It's normal to think why he didn't end it if he was unhappy, or why or she did it. There's a lot of reasons on why people cheat. This is in this article that I read in Marie Claire, and it's about a research that they did on why people cheat. The main reason is the lack of love, and this study had 495 adults, and 70% of the participants say that they cheated on their partner because they were feeling neglected, either sexually, emotionally, or both. Just like if they feel they were being ignored or unloved. That's why they cheated as well. In another article, they give you a little bit more information, and it's because of the disconnection that you guys have. They cheat because they want something new and exciting. The disconnection can happen because the lack of communication. This could be talking about something specific, like maybe going out or going on vacation, or just keep in touch on how they feel. Life sometimes can be too much, and you start to lose yourself in other things, and you start to neglect your partner or your relationship, just like you start to neglect yourself. When they express the feeling of being unloved, is that you don't express affection to the other person and don't say anything nice about them. There are people that don't express the same affection as you, so that's why they feel like, you know, you don't love them and you don't want to take care of them, and, you know, all the feelings, and that's why they cheat. This one was really interesting for me because it says issues related to self-esteem. Their personal insecurities can cause them to cheat on their partners because they feel that the person is not giving them enough attention, so they look for it in someone else. Plus, they might cheat as a way of not being rejected, if that makes sense. It's like they hurt you first so you don't hurt them. So it's like a type of revenge without really having to do a revenge. Anyway, another reason is when they have a sexual addiction and they find that their partners doesn't satisfy them sexually, and they engage in sexual activities with other people. In this case, at least in the article, is that if they have an addiction or any kind of addiction, they can look for help, obviously, and you as their partner can look for information in the NHS choices page. Another issue is the fear of commitment. And this one I can say that I do believe strongly of. Sometimes people can sabotage what they have, consciously or unconsciously, as a way of rejecting feelings of responsibility. AKA, they just don't know what they want and it becomes a problem. I have a real close experience with this because I know a person that, because of the fact of not knowing what he wanted, he was dating one girl and then cheated on her and started to date this girl that he cheated. He started dating the girl that he cheated his girlfriend with. But in reality, he was really dating both of them, but broke up with the first one and basically made her the other woman. And when I say that he basically made her the other woman, it was because he still looked for her and they saw each other and then went out all the time, and he made all the promises of like, yeah, don't worry, in the future we're gonna have a relationship, or the classic, it's like, no, when we're in the same place we'll be together. So he basically manipulated her to be with him. Meanwhile, he was dating another person. Of course, here it's a problem because the other girl, like the girl that it's the other woman, she really is more believing in him, especially when they already had a relationship. So it could be a little bit complicated in the fact of, you may be thinking like right now, but why didn't he dump him, or why didn't he, why she didn't block him? And of course, again, as I was saying, it's complicated because I guess the emotions are still there, and because when you're being promised all these things, it can be hard for you. Anyway, the point is that this person obviously doesn't know what he wants, because you're dating two girls and you just clearly don't know what you want. And plus, I do think that he has abandonment issues, so it's really hard for him to say bye to when he breaks up with somebody or when somebody breaks up with him. Anyway, people that cheat have their own problems and issues. The fact of them cheating on their partner is their problem. And that's something that I have had to learn the hard way, And if you were cheated on, you obviously have all of these emotions. You feel betrayed, angry, embarrassed, and of course heartbroken because you thought that this person was going to be with you and was going to be with you forever. Or, you guys want to get married, or things happen. Anyways, you question everything, but you need to remember that you are not to be blamed. Do not think it's your fault, because it is not. The person that cheats on you, they're just idiots, really. And they do things that hurt us for whatever reason, whatever issues they have. If someone cheats on you, it will suck for a while, but you need time to heal and accept that what happened, and that you need to move on. When you get cheated on, you need to focus on you and don't fight what you can change. You need to take care of you and do what makes you happy. Of course, you're trying to get over the fact that this person you love hurt you in that way. And it's hard because, again, you start to question yourself. You start to question everything. I know it's going to be hard, but try to keep your cool. And again, I know this is difficult, but you can't be texting them angry things, and it's not really worth the time nor the trouble. You need time for yourself and think things through. You cannot make a decision that you will regret later. This decision can be like just breaking up with them and not knowing anything about them for a while and not giving the relationship a chance, or obviously just staying in the relationship and giving it a chance, and then it really doesn't work out because you're not happy. You need to surround yourself with positive people and people that will support you in whatever decision you pick. Take a break from social media if you have to, because I know that I've been there. I know that the fact that you want to see the person that they cheated on you with, or they left you for them, it can become a problem, and you even start to get obsessed with that because you didn't have a closure. Just like if you are going through a breakup, you don't need to show your ex or everybody how you're feeling. Of course, there's a lot of people that do that, and hey, if you're one of those people, go ahead. I did it as well. I'm not gonna judge, but try to keep it on the down low. If you've been cheated on, try talking to a doctor so you can move on, because of course they hurt you, and you need to overcome that situation. Whether you do it yourself or with your partner, getting that help can be a game changer for healing. When it comes to someone cheating on their partner, they either break up or they try to make things work. You need to decide what's right for you, and don't stay with this person because you have history together or kids or whatever the reason. You just need to stay if you think it's a good thing for you and for him or her, or leave for the right reasons. Again, you need to make like a pro and cons list to see what's gonna be the best for you, not for them, for you. It's never a good idea to stay with someone because you don't want to start over. You need to take as much time as you need to make the right decision, and of course you need to have a conversation with your partner if it comes to the fact that they cheated on you and you want to stay together. So as I said in the beginning, you can't blame yourself nor the other person of what your partner did. If your partner cheated on you, then again, that's their fault, not yours, not the other person. And if you feel that your partner is cheating on you because you saw a text or a comment on social media, or a friend told you something, whatever the case, you need to talk to your partner. The key is communication here. And if you're thinking on cheating on your partner because you feel unhappy, uncomfortable, or anything like that, talk to them. Maybe you just need a break to find yourself. You need to deal with with that situation like adults, Because again, if you're in a relationship, it comes with responsibilities and a lot of commitment. And with that, when I come back, I'm going to talk about being the other woman.
The GSMC Sex Podcast is a show that examines all aspects of sexuality, from physical to emotional to spiritual. Join our hosts as they discuss age-old questions, common misconceptions, and the latest topics surrounding sex. They'll tackle topics about sexuality from the complicated to the hilarious and everything in between. GSMC Sex Podcast is your show for all of your questions about sex, even some you might not have thought of yet. Download the GSMC Sex Podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you can find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
Welcome back, and as you know, in this episode I'm talking about being the other woman. And in the last segment, as you know, I talked about on why people cheat, and in this segment I'll be talking about being the other woman. I think that everybody, or almost everybody, has been in this tricky situation. This is all my personal opinion, and it's that the person that cheats on their partner just doesn't know what they want and they are confused in life. The other is that if you are not ready to be in a relationship, don't be. You can be single and still mess around and still even have friends with benefits and someone to talk to. Yes, I have been cheated on and I know it sucks, but I need to be honest, I have been hit on by guys that are in a relationship, and let me tell you, it really sucks as well. You get hurt because you think someone likes you, but in reality, they're just using you for their best interest. And it's not the same talking to the guy that has a girlfriend like friend than talking to a guy that has a girlfriend. What I mean is, you know when a guy is hating on you and they're trying to get your attention all the time, and that's super okay. You can have a friend, but at the same time, you need to put your foot down and say, hey, you have a girlfriend. I feel like this is inappropriate. You need to not do this, not do that, blah, blah. Okay, so let's get started. I've been in the uncomfortable situation of being with a guy that has a girlfriend. Well, at least a couple of times. I know they have been challenging me and I fail. I know you may be thinking, okay, so this girl really doesn't know how to pick guys. Yep, I don't. I honestly don't know why I attract guys that are in a relationship. I do have a lot of guy friends, and I guess the fact of me knowing how to deal with them, they get attracted to me. I honestly do not know why. Anyway, so I'm going to start by telling you one of my stories. I had this friend that I met, and we always had a really great relationship, friendship-wise. We got along and we always had respect for each other. When we met, he was in a 3-year relationship, and every time he had problems with her, he came to me and was talking about the situation, and I gave him advice about it. And of course, their relationship is a little bit toxic, and they were always fighting and they were having their issues. And at one point, he wanted to dump her because, again, it was a lot of fighting and a lot of toxicity. And I even told him, dude, this is not healthy for you, nor for her. I guess the fact of me being so nice and so different to his girlfriend, he started hating on me. And one night, he liked a couple of my photos on social media. And if you guys know, this is a really typical thing of guys doing this so they can get your attention. And I was like, what is he doing? Then the next day, the likes just disappeared. I obviously thought to myself, I was like, okay, this is weird. And I talked to him and he was just like, no, I was just bored and seeing your pictures. And I'm here like, again, what the actual, F. It was super weird, and I just ignored it, really. When then a couple of weeks, he did it again. And I told him, okay, what's going on? I don't like this. He then told me that he was getting feelings for me, but that he has his girlfriend. And of course, when he said that to me, I told him like, hey, then our friendship just needs to stop because you have a girlfriend and I don't want nothing to happen and I don't want any problems. So of course, I separated myself from him and I told him like, hey, I think you need to think things through. I'm gonna like separate myself from you so you have your things together. I was cordial when I saw him, and one time I needed help in something, so I went to him, I texted him, and I told him, hey, I need this, blah, blah, can you help me? And he was like, oh, so you're talking to me now? And I was like, well, yeah, I am, we talked about the whole situation and you know why I've been distant, so don't act dumb. But I need to tell you this and it's important. Anyways, we talked and he said that, of course, he was going to do anything. He wasn't going to do anything and that he respected me and respected my decision. So we kept our friendship, and then a couple of months passed. Everything was good, blah, blah. And then he needed help with one of his classes and I helped him. But this time, him and his girlfriend were in a little break and he started to hit on me again. And of course, when he told me that they were on a break, we started flirting, and again, I was helping him in one of the classes, so we were seeing each other constantly, and I can say that when he started to like hit on me, I didn't stop him this time because it really felt good, someone paying attention to me. I was single for a long time. And maybe it could be because of my low self-esteem that I went with the flow. Anyways, he told me that his and his girlfriend were gonna get back together, and I was like, okay, no worries, like no problem, blah blah. And we went back to being cordial, being respecting each other. But then he asked me like, what was my social media, blah, blah. And I'm like, you have me on social media, so what do you mean? And he's like, no, I'm going to add you in one of my private accounts, blah, blah. And I was like, okay, like that's a little bit weird. Why is this? So anyways, there's where the problem started. He did show up in my house one night. There's where the problem started because, of course, he knew where I live, blah, blah. And he's like, oh, I'm going to your house. Like, let's hang out. And I remember one time he told me, oh, just so you know, you can't really tell nobody that I'm here, or, just let it go. You can't tell nobody that I'm here and blah, blah. And right there, I told him like, dude, I'm not going to be doing this. Like, you need to stop and I cannot do this. And of course, we stopped talking for a while and then it started again. But this time, nothing happened because I told him that I don't want to know anything about anything. And that once he breaks up with his girlfriend, like we can talk. But for now, that I did not want to know anything from him nor his problems because it was a toxic thing what he was doing, and I didn't want it to be involved. And of course, because he was in a toxic relationship and that he needs to get his things together, because he was in a toxic relationship, he was just confused on what he wanted, because I try not to be a toxic person. Although sometimes I am, but, I just try not to. And anyways, I told him that he needed to get his things together, and that if he was in a toxic relationship, he needed to end that thing and just take time for himself. Now, our friendship is more of an acquaintance relationship, really. The other day, he started to say that he was going to move in with his girlfriend to see if things worked. And there I can say that it's not really my relationship and I don't talk to him, but for me, that's stupid. The fact that you cheated on your partner and that you're trying to keep this relationship going, me knowing and everybody else knowing the feelings that you have towards the relationship, why are you gonna keep going through crazy jumping hoops? It's not really the best thing. Anyways, this relationship, I just think that, of course, I don't condone cheating on your partner. This is one of the worst feelings. I've been there, and yes, I've been cheated on. I've said this a couple of times now. And you feel like you can't trust nobody, and your self-esteem goes down so bad that you question everything and you don't even believe whatever they say. Of course, I'm not happy of what happened, and I don't feel good about myself either. And I can say the fact of him and having so much in common and understanding each other in so many ways made things so complicated and messy. When you are the other woman, you need to think to yourself that if they do end up with you, they could do the exact same thing to you as they did to their ex, because as the saying goes, once a cheater, always a cheater. I know that people can change and that things are not always the same, but cheating occurs because they just don't know what they want, or they're not happy, or missing something. Cheating on your partner can be a wake-up call that the relationship is missing something and that it's not working and that it may be time to get out. Sometimes partners try to make things work and they live happily ever after, and they just cheated one time. But you need to understand why your partner cheated on you in the first place, and they need to be accountable, and they need to take responsibility on why they cheated on you as well. And of course, in some cases, when people cheat on you, it doesn't mean that the relationship is going to end, because if your partner does regret what he did and he's willing to end things or to work on things, then you have to find a way to get back that trust. And if there's no reason why you can't save a relationship, then do it. Of course, many couples come to the conclusion that their relationship has run its course. Of course, there's a lot of couples that, they get cheated on and it's like, okay, so this is the end of the relationship. And just like they can see, like, okay, so this was missing, or I was doing this, or you were feeling neglected, like, let's try to work it out. Trying to figure out the issues together, it could be the best way to make sense of things. Of course, you need to understand that if you're willing to forget your partner for cheating, it's going to be really hard for you because you won't have the trust, and it can turn into a really toxic relationship because you'll be on the lookout and you'll be asking them, like, where are you? What are you doing? This is that, and blah, blah. And right now, I can say that I even have friends that their partners, they ask them for the location because they either have been cheated on or they cheated on. Either they were cheated in their past relationships or they have given them motive to be like that. Of course, let's say like if you were in a long-term relationship or you're married, relationship counseling can help you. And of course, talking about what happened can help you heal as well, because it is a good thing to talk about situations that happen because that's the way you heal. But again, this is something that you and your partner need to talk about. And of course, the counselor, they really can't take sides. They just are there to help you make sense on why your partner cheated on you or on why things happened. And of course, they explore your feelings and how it impacted your relationship to a point where you then have a better understanding or you have like a better opening, I can say, of if the relationship is going to work or the relationship is not going to work. Up next, I'll be talking about being the other woman.
Tired of searching the vast jungle of podcasts? Now listen close and hear this out. There's a podcast network that covers just about everything that you've been searching. Hey! The Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network is here. Nothing less than a podcast bliss with endless hours of podcast coverage. From news, sports, music, fashion, cooking, entertainment, fantasy, football, and so much more. So stop lurking around and go straight out to the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. Guaranteed to fill that podcast itch. Whatever it may be. Visit us at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Follow us on Facebook and Twitter and download us on iTunes, SoundCloud, and Google Play.
Alrighty, so welcome back. And as you know, I've been talking about being the other woman and why people cheat as well. As I said in the last segment, being the other woman sucks, and of course you can get hurt, and especially when they decide to either stay with their partner or if they decide to be with you, or if they decide to leave their partner and be with you, then you're gonna have in your head that you can't really trust them. Now I'll be talking about dealing with being the other woman, and I told you an experience that I had with seeing someone that that was in a relationship, and obviously it didn't work out. If you Google the other woman, it will pop up information of films called The Other Woman. But if you look for the other woman definition, it pops up the lover of a married or similarly attached man. Or they have other names for it like side piece or side chick. Anyway, if you are or have been the other woman, and sometimes it can be that you didn't know that this guy that you were dating was married or had a girlfriend. Maybe you knew about it and this guy was hitting on you, or something just happened because you were hanging out. Whatever the reason doesn't mean that you're a bad person. It's something that happens, and being the other woman is not going to define you, obviously. As I said in the first segment, people that cheat on their partners is either because they don't know what they want, or they just don't have the balls to break up with their partner. Cheating on someone can bring a lot of damage and hurt. If you want to deal with the fact that you are the other woman, you need to sit down and ask yourself, where's this relationship going, and what do I want for my future? If you don't know, if you do want a better partner for yourself, dump this one. And remember that what you are experiencing now doesn't mean that this is what you're going to have for the rest of your life. We all deserve someone that loves us and put us and puts us first and really won't judge us of the things that we've done. I know that it's difficult to believe, but not everybody is like that. If you want a better partner for yourself, then dump this one. And remember that what you're experiencing now doesn't mean that this is what you're going to have the rest of your life. We all deserve someone that loves us and won't judge us and will put us first. I know this is a little bit difficult to believe, but not everybody is like that. The fact of being the other woman makes us forget who we are. And the fact of being secretive and hiding, it can become a problem because then you can't tell your friends or your family because they start to judge you and give you opinions in what you should do and shouldn't do. We all make mistakes and it's okay to learn from them. Let's say that you decide to dump this person. The first thing you need to do is separate yourself from them and block them from everywhere that you have them. And everybody is different. And of course, maybe you were in this situation because you were lied to or manipulated. Sometimes it's best to talk to someone and start to build yourself up. When I say talk to someone, either your friends or a specialist, a professional, whomever. If you see that this is not going to be a real relationship, then don't stay. As I said, because your brain starts to be affected by it, you can post anything on social media, you can't tell nobody, and if you do, you're just scared to see what happens. I've been in that situation, like, let's say I posted a photo and I tag them, or their watch show, there was something that you knew who it was. And this person then fighted with me, like, why did I post this on social media? Or why did I did this? Or why did I did that? Like, he needs to respect that he doesn't like that. And of course, there's a line of respecting because of their job and respecting because you're being the other woman and they just have a bigger respect towards their partner. Well, other respect, basically. And of course, you then start to be paranoid, and then you need to think twice in what you post or say in social media or to people. The fact of being sad and that you are not worthy can play with your brain as well. And you then don't trust nobody. You think everybody else is going to do that to you. And you start to sabotage your future relationships because of the psychological abuse that they had on you. You need to have an escape plan. Don't be the other woman forever. Don't chase him. And don't turn into a stalker. What happened, and it was a mistake. Try to avoid it if you can. And if you can't, then look for help. As I said, you are not a bad person. If you get involved with a man that is in a relationship, if they lead you on, be happy. Then just thinking about it like this, I know it's going to be like really bad, but be happy that he's not your boyfriend or your husband and that you are not going to have that drama in your life. You can quickly get away from there before their partner figures out that they cheated on you, that their partner cheated on them. And no, you don't have to tell her that he's cheating on her with you or that he's hitting on you because, oh my God, that could be worse. That could be so much worse. I have this friend that this guy was hitting on her and he had a girlfriend and blah, blah, and she told the girlfriend. And the girlfriend started to insult her so bad. Nothing happened, but she obviously picked her boyfriend's side, and she had all the proof that, he was hitting on her and that she was like, no, stop, like, you have a girlfriend, this isn't that. And the girl just blamed my friend. And that's why you just don't say anything really, because that either can make things worst, that either can make things worse or it can be a good thing, because I've seen videos of like girls that tell their boyfriend and they get revenge on them and blah blah blah, but you get revenge on, and you know, you tell them because you get revenge on him, but that really happens rarely. And this is not like Revenge on John Tucker or you know, those movies, that series where they just take revenge on the guy. If you do tell them, it can go, if you do tell them that their partner is cheating on them, this person can call you names, all the names in the book, basically insults you, and you don't know if she's a psycho and you don't know what she's gonna try. If you want to apologize, don't even bother, because again, in her head, she will believe that you're the homewrecker and that you're the one who destroyed everything. She will blame you and she'll believe her partner, because it always goes like that. Well, not always, but the 99% of the time it goes like that. I can say that I have a close person to me that he was dating this girl. They were just dating, you know, they were nothing exclusive, and you know, they were just talking, they were nothing exclusive, and this person, he had the opportunity to be with his crush, and he tried, you know, to be with her for the longest time, and now that he had the opportunity, he was confused. He didn't know what to do or what really to say to the other girl that he was dating, because he liked her and she liked the other girl as well. And of course, he didn't know what to do. And I remember that he texted me for advice, and I was like, dude, this is something that you need to, you know, realize yourself. Anyways, he saw his crush and things happened. Obviously, he took the opportunity of doing whatever he wanted with her. And of course, the girl that he was dating, I don't know how she figured it out, but she figured it out. I don't know. I don't really remember if he told her or what it was. And I know that when he met her, I know when he saw his crush, the girl that he was dating said to him, like, hey, don't see her, like, I don't trust that, blah, blah, like, you know, respect that. And this person, of course, he really didn't care, because of the fact that they weren't exclusive, and they really didn't, you know, they weren't exclusive anyways. The point is that he went, saw the crush, things happen, and again, the girl that she was dating knew about it, and I guess the crush didn't knew that he was dating this girl, and this girl contacted her in social media. You know, the girl that he was dating contacted the crush in social media and said, hey, blah, blah, this is my name, blah, blah, we're dating, this and that, and there's where the whole thing started. Because this girl, her crush, his crush was gonna try to have a relationship with him, and she declined a work offer to be with this person. And this is where things start to get crazy. He tells the girl that he was dating that he really didn't know what he wanted to do. So this girl contacted the other girl and said, hey, just so you know, he doesn't know what he wants, this and that. Yesterday we saw each other, we did this and that. So I really think that this girl texted or had communication with the other girl just to mark her territory. And of course, she got it because my friend's crush told him, like, hey, I don't want to know anything about you. Please disappear. I don't want to know nothing about your life. Do not contact me. Do not say anything to me. And he was like, what happened? Like, what do you mean? And she goes like, yeah, the girl that you're dating just texted me this, and like screenshotted all the conversation. And he was like, oh my God, and he said like, oh my God, I am literally done. Like, I'm gonna lose both of them. But the thing is, the girl that he was dating said to him, I will give you another chance, because I want to make this work and because I like you, but you need to block her and unfollow her from social media and from everywhere. This is where he says like, it's okay. And I told him like, dude, why? Like, why would you say yes to a person that is literally, this is what she wants. She wants to stay with you. She's marking territory and you don't even know what you want. This is not a healthy relationship, and it's not even a real relationship right now. You guys are just talking. You're not exclusivity. And this is where I said, you know what? I'm done. You're just crazy. He said, oh, is that her toxicity attracts me even more to her? And I'm like, you know what? Go get help. Go talk to a psychiatrist right now, because that's not even normal to say. Anyway, the point is, the crush does not want to know anything about this person. He's dating the crazy girl that contacted the other person, and I guess they're living happily ever after. Anyway, the point is that if a person is cheating on their partner, they're not worth it, really. You don't want to be with someone that doesn't respect their partner, and if your relationship starts you being the other woman, that there's a really big percentage that's what you're going to stay and be for a while, because they just don't have the balls to break up with their partner, just why they don't respect their partner nor you. There are some cases that when someone cheats on their partner, their relationship changes for good, because they see the mistakes and the things that they were making and they try to fix it and it works. And then other people, they break up and the other person gets hurt and they feel useless and that nobody's going to love them. And of course, that's the time of just healing. And if you have to talk to somebody, talk to somebody. Anyway, these are the things that happen in a relationship, and it does suck, as I said. And for my last segment, I am going to talk about a sensitive topic, and it's about the signs that you are in an abusive relationship.
Are you tired of the same old news? Are you sick of the seemingly endless political spin and negativity? The GSMC America's Still Beautiful podcast is a weekly news podcast covering all the top positive and uplifting news stories. We cover stories that will inspire, uplift, and remind you of the good in the world. Tune into the Golden State Media Concepts America's Still Beautiful podcast to get all the great and positive news stories of today. Download the GSMC America's Still Beautiful podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, Google Play, or anywhere you find podcasts. Just type GSMC in the search bar.
Welcome back. I'm going to start by saying that this topic is a sensitive topic because it can be triggering for people. So I am giving you a warning. I chose to talk about this specific topic because it's important to know that not everybody that is with the other woman has to blame. That majority of the time they don't know and they fall in love, or they're just manipulated. In my hometown right now, there is a news going around that this guy killed his other woman because she was pregnant and wanted to keep the baby, and he asked her not to have the baby, but she decided to keep it. Obviously, there's more to the story. They were in a relationship at first, and then he got married, and she turned into the other woman. They were together for 11 years. You can be with a person for a long time and you may think, okay, this person is gonna love me and they are never gonna hurt me. If you watch a lot of documentaries and crime scenes, you do know that there's a lot of cases where people that have been in a long-term relationship have been hurt by their partners and even killed them, because either they snapped one day or for whatever reason they killed their partner, and for whatever reason, and they did something that they shouldn't and the person exploded. This person doesn't have to hit you, so you say, oh, he's an abuser. There are different types of abuse, like physically, emotionally, sexual, and mentally. The physical is punching, hitting you, slapping, and even strangling your partner against their will. The sexual, it's a form of physical abuse that involves rape and forced sexual acts. The mental is where the partner makes the other person doubt their own sanity. Let's say you have a boyfriend and you see a text in their phone that says, hey babe, come over at 7 p.m. and you start to think, and then your partner tells you that you're just being dramatic and that you're crazy and that there's nothing going around with this person, and why you're looking at their phones, that's psycho. This basically comes to the point that the person trusts their own judgment, and it could be a real problem. The emotional is where the partner uses words to make them feel worthless and stupid. A lot of people don't see that they're being abused mentally, and it can leave an emotional scar that takes a longer time to heal, especially when you have been around that all your life. Sometimes parents can abuse you as well and you don't know, because again, it's something that you're being raised on. And the fact of you attract what your parents show you. You attract negative vibes, or you attract negative people, whatever it is. You just attract what you know. I want to talk about the emotional abuse. This is the one that I would like to just focus on this segment. I am not a professional. I do my research for the podcast, and I found this article that it's called 12 signs that you are in an emotionally abused relationship. Emotional abuse can be hard to recognize because sometimes you don't know if they're making fun of you or they're really abusing you. Emotional abuse is sometimes linked with anxiety, depression, and trauma. It can be your partner or your parents that give you this kind of abuse, as I said in the beginning. Okay, so let's get started with the article. In number 1, we have that you tiptoe around your partner, and this is because you never know what kind of mood they're in, and you need to be always trying to figure out what's the best time to talk to them. Because let's say that you have really exciting news and you tell them and they just yelled at you, or they really start to say like, oh, you always have the bad timing, you always do this, blah, blah. And that excitement that you have turns back down to 0, or you say to yourself, okay, so I did this wrong. And second, we have that you say I'm sorry excessively. Even if you didn't do anything, you apologize for no reason. Let's say they were the ones who, let's just say that you did something or they did something and you don't have the fault for it, but you still say you're sorry. And you can even start to notice this when you're at work, because let's say something happened at work and it wasn't your fault, and your boss comes in and tells you something and you say like, oh, I'm sorry. And then your boss looks at you like, what are you sorry about? It's not your fault. You don't have control of this. So again, you apologize even though it's not your fault. And third, we have that you are reluctant to call out your partner. And this is when you guys are having a problem and you know that you're right, and then your partner just blames you and makes you doubt if you were really right or not. And fourth, we have that you are frequently told that you overreact, and maybe you do and sometimes you don't, but they will tell you all the time that you're overreacting. Let's say that an example, it's really a simple example, but let's say that you go into the house and you're like, oh, hey, can you take out the trash? It has been there for 3 days. I told you last time. And they say like, oh, it hasn't been there 3 days, blah, blah, blah. You're overreacting. You're being so dramatic. And of course, you then say like, oh, I should be like less of an overreactor, or not an overreactor, but you say to yourself, okay, so I shouldn't be so hard on him or her. And fifth, we have that your partner brushes off their own poor behavior, and it's basically that they tell you that they're like that and they're not going to change. Let's say you were having a discussion about a toothbrush or about the toothpaste basically, and it's, you're like, oh, why can't you put the toothbrush in its place? And they say like, oh, I am like that, or something like, I know something is simple and stupid basically, but they do something and they just lean on the fact that that's how they are and they're never gonna change. In 6, we have that your partner uses put downs or ignores you. That one I don't really have to explain. It's basically that they just ignore you in some situations, and in other situations they're just lovable. So it's more like you don't know how they're gonna react to things. In 7th, we have that you have lost confidence. Generally, you second guess everything and you don't feel comfortable in what you do, and you're always asking them like, hey, did I did this right? Or hey, can I do this? Can I do that? In number 8 is that you find yourself excusing your partner's poor behavior. And let's say that you're at your mom's party or you're somewhere with your friends and they start to yell at you, or they start to do something that is not really the way. It's not really the way, and you just say like, oh no, he's drunk, or no, he just had a really bad day. In 9th, we have that your partner often changes plans on you and in others. And of course, it's like, let's say you had this party or your friends are coming over, and then he says like, oh no, I made plans with my friends to go play golf, or whatever the reason, or they just literally change your plans and they don't tell you in advance. In 10th is that your partner is secretive. They don't want you to check their phone. They're always very protective of their phone. And if you get into the car and you say like, oh, what's this and that, they're just, they say like, oh, don't start things with me. And anyways, they basically do whatever they want and not tell you. But if you go out, you need to tell them everything, like where are you going, what are you doing, who you're going with. And they want that type of, they need to know all the time what you're doing, but you cannot know anything about what they're doing. And of course that there is zero lack of communication, and that could be a really big red flag. In 11th, we have that you are not sure what's normal in a relationship, because you really don't know what having a normal relationship is, and you're not happy, and basically you just lost the concept of what's normal. Lastly, in 12, we have that you keep telling yourself that you love them when you don't even know if you do or not, because maybe you're just staying there because, again, you're used to of somebody treating you like that. Loving someone doesn't mean that they can treat you bad and that you have to take that treatment. And of course, it doesn't mean that you need to stay there as well. I understand that sometimes it can be complicated because you either have kids or you're married or you've been together for a really long time and there's a lot of history. But unfortunately, our time with our partner, if they're not our soulmate, as they say, it runs out. And when the relationship is done, it's done. I understand that for some people, it can be easy to just break up with a person, and for some, it is not. If you see any of these signs in your relationship, then unfortunately, you're in an unhealthy and an abusive relationship. You get used to the fact that how they are treating you is okay, when in reality, it is not. You deserve so much better. That's why you need to check on your mental health and try to get out of that toxic relationship, or talk to them about what you want to do and how you need things to change for the best and for your mental health as well. If they don't want to do any changes, then unfortunately, again, you need to let go of that relationship. Many of you may think, well, then that person should leave them, but in reality, it's not easy. They have been abused in a way that they think they're not going to survive on their own, and sometimes society normalizes unhealthy relationships behaviors as well. We see it in movies, we see it in series. How many times, this is gonna sound really funny, but in the series Gossip Girl, how many times did Chuck Bass cheated and betrayed Blair Waldorf's trust, and they still ended up together? You know, it was a really toxic relationship, but they made it work at the end. Again, society normalizes unhealthy behaviors. Plus, an emotional abuse destroys your self-esteem in a way that you feel worthless. And of course, you just cannot move on. Another thing, living an abusive relationship can turn into something dangerous. When I say dangerous, I mean life-threatening. A lot of women have been killed by their ex-partners because they left that abusive relationship. Just like guys get killed by their partner as well. And I don't really know the percentage, but it's not a piece of cake leaving an unhealthy relationship. That's why people sometimes even stay in that relationship, because it's easier for them to stay. Of course, it's important to look for help if you are in any kind of abusive relationship. As I said, I decided to talk about this topic because of the news that I heard that is happening in my hometown, and because there's a lot of things happening of people, of women being abused and being killed by their partners, especially now in this global pandemic. It is scary, and I think, this is my personal opinion, I think that we should talk about it. And I understand that it's a sensitive topic and that it's hard to talk about the fact that many people suffer and they don't say anything. But if you see or have a friend that is being abusive or is in an abusive relationship or any kind of help them. They would never admit that they are in an abusive relationship because they are used to the fact of how their partner is treating them. And maybe they're even scared of them and to leave them. Another thing I want to say is that not every abuser is the same with everybody. Maybe they treat their partner like crap, but then they treat you like the best thing in the world. That's why you always need to check on your friends and be there for them always. And to change the topic a little bit, I'm going to give you a brief resume of today's episode. We need to understand that people that cheat is because of their own issues, and if they cheated on you, you are never the person to blame. You didn't do anything. It's your partner who is unhappy and doesn't really know how to communicate, and they don't even know what they want really. If you are the person that they used to cheat, you are not a bad person either. That's a problem that the cheater has, and again, they just don't know what they want, and the fact of you being the other woman doesn't define you at all. Well guys, that's it for today. I hope that you enjoyed today's episode and that you have a wonderful week. Thank you for listening to the GSMC Relationship Podcast, brought you by the GSMC Podcast Network. I would like to ask you to please remember to subscribe to the show and write a nice review. That really helps us. Also, if you can please follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram, thank you.
You've been listening to the Golden State Media Concepts Relationship Podcast, part of the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network. You can find this show and others like it at www.gsmcpodcast.com. Download our podcast on iTunes, Stitcher, SoundCloud, and Google Play. Just type in GSMC to find all the shows from the Golden State Media Concepts Podcast Network, from movies to music, from sports to entertainment, and even weird news. You can also follow us on Twitter and on Facebook. Thank you, and we hope you have enjoyed today's program.